What if the absolute worst place to put your retirement money is, well, the exact place you've been told is the safest?
Yeah, it's a scary thought.
Right. Welcome to today's deep dive.
Yeah.
So most of us just blindly dump a chunk of our paychecks into a 401k every single month. But the financial strategists in today's stack of sources, which includes several really in-depth wealth management webinars, they argue that the traditional 401k isn't a safe haven at all.
Not even close.
Right. They call it a ticking tax bomb. So
Right.
our mission today is to unpack these unconventional strategies and figure out exactly how to mitigate future tax burdens and market risks.
And doing that really requires a complete perspective shift. I mean, these sources point out 3 core enemies to wealth building. You got taxes, market risk, and a lack of liquidity.
Okay, taxes, risk, liquidity.
Exactly. Let's look at taxes first. When you defer taxes in a traditional 401k, you are essentially placing a bet that your tax rate will be lower in retirement than it is right now.
Wait, but if you look at the U.S. national debt, which is sitting around $36 trillion right now?
Yeah, around $36 trillion.
The math almost guarantees taxes have to go up eventually, right?
Yeah.
By deferring taxes in a 401k, we aren't avoiding them. We're just volunteering to pay whatever the future inflated tax rate happens to be.
You're just kicking the can down the road.
Exactly. It's the ultimate farming dilemma. A 401k means you get to plant your seeds for free today, but the IRS gets to take a massive, unpredictable cut of your entire harvest decades from now.
Right. And that uncertainty is why experts like the ones on the Morton Wealth podcast, they advocate for regaining control through strategies like Roth conversions. You purposefully choose to pay the taxes right now on the seed.
So you take the hit up front.
Yeah, because that ensures your entire harvest, all that compound growth, is yours tax-free later. Plus, it helps you avoid something called required minimum distributions, or RMDs.
Oh, right, because at a certain age, the IRS forces you to start withdrawing from your traditional 401k, whether you actually need the money to live on or not.
Exactly, which is why
it is. Suddenly, you have this forced income on paper, which can bump you into a significantly higher tax bracket, just when you thought your tax burden would finally drop.
Precisely. A Roth conversion defuses that specific tax bomb by getting the tax out of the way up front.
Okay, so a Roth conversion solves the tax problem, but it doesn't solve the second enemy we mentioned, which is market risk. I mean, if the stock market crashes, your Roth crashes right along with it.
Unfortunately, yes.
So is there a strategy in these sources that actually neutralizes both the tax risk and the market risk?
There is, and it involves a completely different approach using indexed universal life policies, or IULs.
IULs, okay.
Yeah, and this concept known as infinite banking, the sources actually frame this as an industry disruptor, like they call it the Netflix of finance, disrupting the blockbuster way of doing things. An IUL is tied to a market index like the S&P 500, but the key mechanic is that it offers a 0% floor against market losses.
Wait, really? A 0% floor?
Yeah, usually in exchange for capping your earnings around, say, 12%.
There's actually a great case study in the webinars about this. They look at a 22-year-old, let's call her Kylie. She's making $140,000 a year and putting $30,000 annually into an IUL. Because of that 0% floor, she never loses principal in a down year.
Not a single cent.
And all the growth is tax-free. She's setting herself up to potentially pull out millions without giving a dime to the IRS. But the sources also talk about a 49-year-old single dad who used the infinite banking concept within his policy to pay off $22,000 of debt in just 5 years instead of 15.
Yeah, that's a crazy example.
Without spending a single extra penny monthly.
Mm-hmm.
How is that mathematically possible? It sounds like magic.
It sounds like it, but it's not magic. It's just capturing the spread. With infinite banking, his cash value never actually leaves his account. It stays in the policy, continuing to compound at, let's say, 5%.
Okay.
Meanwhile, he takes out a policy loan against that cash value at 4% to pay off his high-interest credit cards. He's essentially acting as his own bank, earning more in interest than he's paying to borrow his own money.
Okay, let me push back on this for a second. The sources also mentioned that over 90% of these IULs are structured improperly. And fundamentally, isn't life insurance just for when you die?
That's the traditional view, yeah.
Right. So if I am using an insurance policy like a bank account, how does this not just drain all my cash and administrative fees and mortality costs?
That is the absolute make or break detail. If you just buy an off-the-shelf policy, the fees will eat you alive.
Oh, got it.
The secret is engineering what's called a max-funded policy. You legally minimize the death benefit to the absolute lowest amount the IRS allows.
Oh, wow. So you just shrink the insurance part.
Exactly. By shrinking the insurance component, you drastically reduce the fees, which lets you cram as much cash into the policy as possible. You transform a traditional insurance expense into a highly liquid, tax-free asset.
So whether you're exploring Roth conversions to protect your harvest or diving into max-funded IULs to act as your own bank, the core takeaway for you, the listener, is clear. Modern wealth building isn't just about chasing the highest returns.
Absolutely not. It is ultimately about controlling your liquidity and aggressively neutralizing those future tax and market risks.
It is about taking action today to defuse the bombs that could decimate your savings tomorrow.
Well said.
Which leaves you with this to ponder. If the market drops 20% tomorrow and income taxes double next year, does your current retirement strategy have a built-in parachute, or are you just hoping for a soft landing?